And so for the first part of this podcast, we're going to do something a little different. We actually have video rolling because people have always asked us to show video of the knives and things like that. And so I brought today for Jim and I to talk about the Spartan, or the Severtech Spartan. So you'll be able to hear this, but they'll see this. If you go to Average Iowa Guy on YouTube, you'll see this video. It is an auto knife made by Severtech USA, and it's a big, beefy black knife with a tanto point.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, sort of.
So just to get the specs out of the way, this stuff bores me, but people always want to know this. Blade thickness is 0.176 inches at the spine. Handle thickness is 0.591 inches. Handle length is 4 15/16 inches. Blade length is 3 7/8 inches. Overall length is 8 13/16, and the weight is 6 1/8 ounce. The steel for this is A2 steel hardened to 60 RC. The button and pivot are both made out of 304 stainless. The clip is powder coated titanium, and the handle is 6061 T6 aircraft aluminum. Okay, that bores me to tears, but people want to know that stuff. So
I'm crying right now.
This knife was a movie knife, and it was in the movie Spartan, starring Val Kilmer. And he uses this knife quite a bit. He cuts an apple with it in a bar scene. I think the backstory is that he stole it off of one of the bad guys or something.
That's how I got it.
It's a big, beefy auto. It feels very similar to one of these ZT knives, zero tolerance in construction and just overall beefiness. Some of the features of this are the machine work on this, on the spine, and you won't be able to see this at home, and you won't be able to see this on the camera either. But there are just it's just the finest little machining points.
Yeah, they did a nice job.
Yeah, I mean, everything is machined very, very precisely. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to begin to do this. But they put jimping, if you're a fan of jimping, and some people are, in all of the right spots to be able to use this knife in a lot of different grips. So on the back of the handle, you've got it. If you were going to use this in in your ninja stab, you've got a jimping for your index finger to grip on and for your thumb to go on the back of the handle, and it also catches the hypothenar eminence, or that little meat by your small finger. Everything locks in very well, and there's all these different kung fu grips, but they have jimping in all the right spots. I like the knife. The only reason I bought this knife is because it's a movie knife. For me, it's not really going to be something that I ever carry or
Yeah, why wouldn't you carry it?
Well, because it's, I mean, what do I need that for?
Because it would ruin the value?
Well, I mean, if I get that all scratched up in my pocket, that's a fairly expensive knife, and let's not burden the listeners with the constant clicking like some other people do. But
it has the official holes in it to DNA grabbers.
Oh yeah, so that the blood gets stuck in there, so that somebody can prove that you used your knife to kill someone.
Exactly.
Again, all of this is theorycraft for me. I have no experience in any of that sort of stuff, and I don't want any. So the only reason I bought that knife is because it was in a movie.
Now, any chance there's some screws missing on this?
No.
What are those extra holes for?
So that stuff can get caught in them.
Well, they actually look like there's, I can't see that, but it actually looks like it's stepped, like it should have a screw in it.
It does in those locations, but there are not, in fact, any screws missing from it. Well, it sure does look like there should be. Now that I look at it.
Yeah, it looks like there could be like a step, like there should be a screw.
Yeah, so there. On the spine of the handle, there are 4 holes that screws would theoretically go through, but there's only 2 screws in place, and it is stepped and threaded on. I can't tell if it's threaded or not on the other side, but
sure looks like it to me. But
well, and then there's a little lanyard hole. It is it is only right-handed, but in an auto that really doesn't make any difference. You can open it up easily with the left hand, no problem. It's just
the blade, there's a clip.
it's just that the clip isn't reversible.
Okay.
So I mean but really it does not detract from the knife in this particular instance.
Okay, so it's a tip-up carry.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have issues with that. There's all that tip-up, tip-down carry issues. The typical Microtech was a tip-up carry, except the SOCOM, the original SOCOM DA.
Show that to the camera here. So this is, tell us what this is.
That's a SOCOM DA. I think it's a 2002.
Okay.
Does it say on there?
It says number 1 of 98.
So it was made in 98. One of 98.
Oh, okay. So that's
January
the year
98 knife. Year of birth.
Okay.
And it's got a lock.
Oh, so this is actually, on the SOCOM we're talking about now, there's actually a liner lock that deploys.
Yeah. This is a DA.
Okay.
So it means it's an automatic.
Uh-huh.
And it means it's a...
Oh, so you can...
manually open it too.
Yeah. Well, so the reason we're showing some of these other knives and talking about some of these other knives is this Severtech is a $500 freaking knife. Again, the only reason I bought this is because I like movie knives, and we can get to that later.
Yeah.
If you're
and to be honest with you, I do not know the value of this, but I've been told that this is fairly valuable. You know, it's almost 10 years old. 98, 2000. Oh yeah, it was more than 10 years old. About almost 15 years old. And Microtech, this is back in days when he made knives in Florida. And I mean, it's a very well made. These were pretty cutting edge in '98.
If you're interested in getting into an auto that has, in my opinion, every bit as much quality and usability. In fact, I would say that this has more usability. You can look at one of these Benchmade Presidios. This is right or left-handed. You can reverse the pocket clip, and it's got an access lock and opening mechanism that is ambidextrous as well.
I should have pulled out the prototype of that.
And you can, once it's locked open, there's that additional lock on it. So if I were to carry an auto, number one, I would be absolutely certain that it was 100% legal for me to carry it. But then, you know, I'm looking more for things like this, like the Purdue, than I am necessarily the Severtech.
It's a great knife. That's a great knife. This is an elegant knife.
Which one is that?
This is a Microtech UDT. LUDT. Button lock. It has the same lock as your Severtech.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a sexy knife. This is from 2 of 98, and this is called a underwater demolition team knife.
Oh, okay.
And it's got I think these are called Kraton inserts. These were pretty hot stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
Then for a while there was a company called what the hell were they called? Masters of Defense.
Okay.
And these are liner locks with the buttons in them. And they're very nicely made knives.
Yep.
And that's not a DA, it's just a button.
Okay. Yep. This is right hand only.
This is a switchable tip down, tip up carry. This is also Masters of Defense. Michael Janich knife.
Okay.
And then we've got obviously Silicon. We've got this was a Greg Lightfoot knife design that was made by Microtech. Carbon fiber scales, titanium bolsters, and it is a DA knife.
Nice.
So and it's got a hidden button on it, and I'm not going to show you the button because how it works because I win beers.
Let me see if I can figure it out. Usually, it's on most of these knives. It's you press, like you move the bolster.
They did a real nice job with that.
Yeah, it's hidden well enough that I can't tell what the mechanism would be to open that.
And the funny thing is,
cops won't be able to tell either.
Well, no, and the funny thing about this is, no matter how you do it, when you put it in right in front of their eyes, they don't even see how you did it.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
You know. So, anyways, and my understanding, these are fairly valuable.
I would think, yeah, the mechanism.
You know, because Tony told me that it was very difficult for him to make that.
I would imagine. Because I don't know how you would even.
Because when they did the titanium, when they milled the titanium, they actually would tweak a little bit, and they wouldn't work. So.
Well, so anyway, just thought we'd talk about some different autos, and then.
Yeah, this is a pretty bad. This is actually a pretty badass automatic. I mean, it's got a heck of a spring on it.
Out of all of these, that's the strongest spring. In fact, I have never held a switchblade that had that much strength in the spring. Now,
you could hurt yourself with that if that opened up in your pocket.
They did include an extra spring in there, and I'm not sure if that was just because it was like less springy,
or they break.
But anyway, that's the Severtech Spartan. Nice little movie knife. If you're looking for something to carry that's an auto, be absolutely certain that it's 100% legal for you to carry it. And out of all of these knives that Jim has on the table, my choice is the Mel Purdue Benchmade. Is that the Presidio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one of these. I love it. I've got a friend in Arizona who's kind of a desert rat, goes out and does all kinds of stuff. He carries one of these.
I actually
doesn't Skinny Dave have one of these?
Yep.
Yep. So this is pretty widely used.
I usually do not carry an automatic.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm going anywhere, it's just
because you can get in trouble.
Well, not only that, it's like a lot of times one pops open in your pocket and inadvertently, it.
Well, the nice thing
cause issues.
The nice thing about the Mel Purdue is that lock that locks it open also will lock it closed, so that you cannot deploy it accidentally in your pocket, which is another reason why I like the Purdue version.
Very, very handy.
Anyway, anything else to add about the Spartan, and we'll get on with the rest of the podcast.
It's a beefy. I mean, the blade shape is kind of interesting. I don't know. You can see it in the video. It's a reverse tando. I believe it's a reverse tando. I'm not a big fan of them.
They are going to make a drop point version of that.
Now, see, that would be more up my speed.
Me too.
Drop point without serrations, I'd be more happy.
Yeah.
I guess if you were wood carving, this probably would be okay.
Like a chisel. Well, at any rate, I think they do it because
visually it's more scary.
Let's briefly talk about movie knives. They have to look different than any other knife.
And they have to be exaggerated.
They have, it's like all of the features of them have to be like the knife is in drag. Like it has to be more knifey than any other knife. Right. And that tanto tip is one of the features on this that I would say sets it apart visually from.
It makes it more of a knife. Not more knifey, but more visually.
Yeah.
More of a knife.
Anyway, and then movie knives, the reason I like them, I won't speak for you, but the reason I like them is that they are good for the knife industry as a whole.
Yes, they are. They are. It gets people buying knives. It gets people collecting them that normally wouldn't collect them. Movie nuts will buy into them. Yep.
So,
and obviously with our Rambo heritage, and actually, if you go back to the Iron Mistress made, I think that was the name of the movie, wasn't it? Iron Mistress, about Jim Bowie and the Bowie knife.
Oh yeah.
Those were movie knives too.
Yeah, you get all those old westerns that they'll take a piece of equipment like Winchester 98 or there's actually movies just about particular guns that made those guns like crazy popular.
Yep.
Same thing happens with knives. But anyway, this is the thing that I would say separates this from all the other knives is the level of machining to be able to make this happen. I mean, it's just crazy the amount
it is amazing the amount of machine work that's on there.
Yeah, I mean, look at every surface has those really fine. I mean, I don't even know how much. You feel that? I mean, it's so fine that.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. How do you even do that? But
a machinist would probably say that it's just that he didn't finish it.
Yeah.
But it's hard saying. I mean, it might be just a simple tool that they put in there. I mean, we're not machinists, so
Just drags it around or something.
Yeah,
Because it is aluminum, so it would be easier, I would think, to do that. But
yeah.
anyway, so that's enough on the Spartan, and that concludes the video portion of the podcast.